And before I actually get started, can everyone see my PowerPoint okay? Can everyone see it okay?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, thank you. So as I said before, hope your summer's been going well, and I hope you have a really good time in the MST Camp. So first, let me introduce myself. I'm Shreyas, and I'm a rising junior at DuPont Manual High School, and I really enjoy working with machine learning. And many of you might have already seen me during the summer when I conducted the AI camp run by Community AI. And thank you to those who joined the camp. And today I would like to present the Manual AI Club, which I hope many of you consider joining. Without further ado, let's actually get started presenting the Manual AI Club. So first, let's consider this quote. "In God we trust, all others bring data." So this quote was from the late William Edward Deming, who was an American statistician and professor. And this quote really exemplifies the importance of data in our world. So the amount of data is doubling every 2 years. In fact, in 2025, and that's the year you'll be a first-year college student, the amount of data will double every 12 hours. And this unprecedented increase in data has prompted us to think about how we can actually use data to help in our personal and professional lives. And now the advent of artificial intelligence has given us a great way to use data to improve our lives and create products, which were considered science fiction just a decade ago. And at the Manual AI Club, we used AI and data to build interesting projects which are extremely impactful to the world around us. So now, why choose data science or AI? So before I move forward with the slide, let me first just talk about data science and AI and how they're related. So AI is essentially a subfield of data science. So this is essentially how the paradigm goes. So there's data science, and a subfield of data science is AI, and the subfield of AI is machine learning. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind while you listen to this presentation. So again, why choose data science? For freshman year of high school, as Shub said, is a very good time to start thinking about what you might want to do when you get older in terms of career options. So to that end, getting involved in many activities and seeing which ones you enjoy is something I really recommend you guys doing in freshman year. So now data scientist or being an AI engineer is one of the best career options out there currently. So the job site Glassdoor has ranked being a data scientist as one of the best jobs in the United States in the year 2019. So further, LinkedIn ranked data scientist as the #1 most promising job in the United States, but based upon job openings. And actually in the year 2019, there was a 56% increase in demand for data scientists. That's just 1 year. That's an insane amount of rise. And the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in one of the greatest recessions the world has ever seen. And despite this, the data science industry has been one of the few industries which have still grown. And this really shows how much in demand data science currently is. And thus, a career in data science is a very good choice in an economic sense. So now, being a data scientist or AI engineer isn't just a career that just pays really well, but it's actually a really boring job. In fact, most AI engineers work on extremely interesting products. And I would actually like to show you one example of how AI can be used in video games. So in this example, AI agents are trained to learn to play the game of hide and seek. So here you can see that they learn some extremely complex and useful strategies to actually help in the game of hide and seek. And some of you may have already seen this as part of the Community AI Summer Camp, but I would also like to show this as this is a very interesting application of artificial intelligence, in my opinion. So let's watch it. So this is actually a very, very cool application, in my opinion. Let's just look at it.
On Earth, the simple rules of natural selection and competition led to the evolution of increasingly intelligent life.
Oh, can everyone see my screen okay?
Yeah, you got to switch over to the other window. We can see your PowerPoint. We can't see the video.
Yep, I think I've only shared the PowerPoint. Let me share my desktop. How about, sorry, you guys?
It's okay. All right, cool. There you go.
Thank you, yeah.
On Earth, the simple rules of natural selection and competition led to the evolution of increasingly intelligent life forms. Today, we ask if comparably simple rules and multi-agent competition can also lead to intelligent behavior in a new virtual world. These agents are playing hide and seek. These agents have just begun learning, but they've already learned to chase and run away. This is a hard world for a hider who has only learned to flee. However, after training in millions of rounds of hide and seek, the hiders find a solution. The hiders learn to use rudimentary tools to their advantage. By grabbing and locking these blocks, they can create their own shelter. The seekers are locked in place for a brief period at the start of the game, giving hiders a chance to prepare. Even so, the hiders must learn to collaborate, accomplishing tasks that would be impossible for any single individual. The hiders are not the only ones who can learn to use tools. After many generations of failing to break into the shelter, the seekers learn to jump over obstacles using ramps. However, after many millions of rounds of having their shelter breached, the hiders learn to take away the primary tool the seekers have at their disposal. Note that we did not explicitly incentivize any of these behaviors. As each team learns a new skill, it implicitly changes the challenges the other team faces, creating a new pressure to adapt. We've also put these agents into a more open-ended environment, randomizing the objects, team sizes, and walls. In this world, they learn to construct their own shelter from scratch, requiring that they arrange multiple objects into precise structures. To prevent seekers from using the ramps, the hiders move them to the edge of the play area and lock them in place. We originally believed this would be the final strategy that the agents learn. However, we found that after more training, the seekers discovered that they can jump on top of boxes and surf them to the hider's shelter. In the last stage of emergent strategy that we observe, the hiders learn to lock as many boxes as they can before constructing their fort in order to defend against box surfing. So how do agents acquire these skills? They're trained using reinforcement learning, an algorithm inspired by the way animals on Earth learn. The agents play thousands of rounds of hide and seek in parallel for many days. They train against each other as well as past versions of themselves using an algorithm called self-play. Coevolution and competition on Earth led to the only generally intelligent species known to date, humans. While this world is far less complex than Earth, we have found evidence that simple rules can lead to increasingly intelligent behavior from multi-agent interaction. We hope that with a much larger and more diverse environment, truly complex and intelligent agents will one day emerge.
All right. So OpenAI, which is actually the company which built this, works on extremely interesting products.
This video is about natural selection.
Guys.
If you've watched the previous
1
videos in
second.
this series, you've seen these blob creatures live, die, and replicate, but it's been a little bit...
Sorry, guys. Okay, can everyone see my PowerPoint? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So as I was saying before, the company which actually builds these products is called OpenAI, and they work on some extremely interesting products. So I really recommend you guys check out their website. So just Google OpenAI Gym, and you'll find a lot of their products online. And I thought this video in particular was very interesting because they showed how they learned such complex strategies without ever being told to do anything remotely close to what they came up with. So all they were actually given was just sort of a reward function. So what kind of actions gave a reward? That's it. And they learned such complex strategies without like just being told anything. So now let's come back to the presentation here. So now I would like to talk about how AI can be applied to all three regions of MST. So MST stands for Math, Science, and Technology, and artificial intelligence is a combination of all three of those fields. So firstly, math and programming are used to actually build these machine learning models. And while we don't have to tell the model or tell the computer explicitly what to do, we do have to tell the computer when it's a good action and when an action is a bad action. And there are a lot of intricacies in that, and math and programming really help in building those. So now AI is actually used tremendously in the natural sciences. So as I said before, AI isn't just used in math and tech. AI has many more applications. So for example, AI can be used in the natural sciences and medicine. And in particular, for example, a lot of research is currently being done on using AI for disease diagnosis. So to sum up, artificial intelligence can be used in any STEM field. And in a short-term purpose, AI might actually help you in your science fair project, which is something all MST students have to do for at least 3 years. And it's actually a great experience for you to start getting STEM skills to get a head start in your career. And I really like science fair for that. And you'll most likely be learning about science fair later in the camp. So in addition to STEM, AI is being used in various fields such as art, law, and journalism. And let's actually give an example of this. So for example, AI has actually been used to search through millions of documents and then give lawyers relevant documents to read through, thus saving them huge amounts of time. And now the lawyers can use their time on more relevant tasks, which actually will require human intervention. So at this point, we hope that you're interested in AI and want to learn more. And the Manual AI Club is for you if you're interested in this. So our Manual AI Club consists of collaborative students who are passionate in using AI and machine learning to develop extremely cool and interesting applications. So now I would actually like to discuss what we do in greater detail. So firstly, we provide live lessons in machine learning and AI, so you have the background necessary to create your own projects. And with most of these algorithms, we'll develop projects which actually show you how you can use what you've learned in a very interesting application. And we will also have industry experts act as advisors and mentors to the club. And they will really help us as we move along. Further, upperclassmen who worked on AI projects can help you along the way. And we're also planning on competing with other AI clubs in competitions through a website called Kaggle. So check out that website. So the website kaggle.com is a very good website for data science and is a good way to start learning the subject. So finally, we'll get industry and academic leaders to talk about how AI is being used to tackle some of the world's biggest problems. Okay. And actually having an early start to AI can help you tremendously, both in the short term and the long term. Okay. And so please go to manualaiclub.com/registration to actually, register for the club if you're interested. So I'll wait for a few seconds while you guys just jot down the URL if you're interested. All right. So hopefully you guys are interested in this club. So now I would actually like to announce a very exciting event that's coming up very soon. So on September 10th at 7 p.m., Dr. Fairchild, who's a brilliant computer scientist who currently works on COVID-19 forecasting from the Los Alamos National Laboratory, is going to be presenting a talk on how he's using AI, how he's actually used AI in pandemics from Ebola to COVID-19. So stay tuned for that. And in order to register, just go on to our Manual AI Club website at manualaiclub.com, and just click the registration link there. So hope you guys had time to sort of jot down the URL. So now I would like to give a few acknowledgements. So one advisor I would actually like to thank in particular is Dr. Willard. So he's a lead data scientist at a Fortune 500 company, and he'll assist us greatly in this club. And he couldn't be with us today, but he will be a very important part of our club as we move along. And in our website, you can look at our schedule and activities in greater details. And we already have all the activities we're going to do in the website already. So now I would actually like to introduce Mr. Lober. I'm not sure if he's here today, but
yes, I'm here. I am here.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lober. Sorry for the confusion. So yeah, I had the wrong Zoom meeting, so I couldn't.
Yeah, well, that's okay. AI can do a lot of things, but it could not handle my flooding in the basement this morning, so I had to take care of that myself. So I apologize for my lateness, but I had no fear, Shreyas, that you were going to be able to deliver all the necessary information. Ms. Hafel already knew that you were going to be able to handle all these things, and so I was not concerned at all. But I'm very excited to be involved in this, mainly because I'm much more of a learner than I would be a teacher. Did you talk about AlphaGo at all with the students, Shreyas?
I did not. Can you talk about it?
Are you familiar with AlphaGo?
I believe. Can you explain what it is? Because I believe.
Well, first off, I would want to know how many people are familiar with the game Go, one of the oldest games in the history of games, as a matter of fact, older than chess, older than checkers, and is considered to be one of the most sophisticated logic games out there. Well, there was a former chess champion who has been working on artificial intelligence and machine learning for many years, and he decided he wanted to create a computer program that could take on the best Go player in the world. I won't spoil any more, but suffice it to say, you should watch this documentary and see the amazing things about artificial intelligence and machine learning. Trace, have you seen that documentary yet?
Oh, I'm actually familiar. I haven't seen the documentary, but I'm familiar with AlphaGo.
Okay, well, see, look, even there's one small thing that I have on experience over Shreyas. Everything else he'll teach me, but that's fine. I would have to say, I've almost been at Manual for almost 10 years, and this I've seen many clubs come and go at Manual. This is one of the most exciting clubs I have seen in my tenure here, and I'm very grateful for Shreyas and his whole cohort of team members put this together. If you get involved, you're going to really appreciate it. So thanks, Shreyas, and thanks to your crew for doing everything you need. And I'm basically the host. I will offer a room once we're back in the building and whatever support that you guys need, occasionally donuts and drinks and things like that. So, but unless there's anything else, that I'm done.
Yeah, so I shared in the chat a link to the game Go. So this is a very nice video you guys can watch to actually see how an AI actually beat the game Go. So that is much smaller. It's much smaller than the documentary, but it's a good start. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna step in here. Thank you. I mean, this is cool. That video was that was awesome. But I wanted to touch base with you. We're gonna have to move to the next thing pretty soon.